All right, Shalom. I want to give all praise to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Ha, Racha, Kodash, Mamath. Double honors to the elder apostles and the elders of GMS. Double honors to my elder of this camp as well. Salutations to the sincere Akim, pushing his truth and sincerity around the four corners of this earth. I'm Nakar Karab Ban Yasharala, coming out of the Lions Den camp of Yasharala here in Jacksonville, Florida. Not today. I'm coming out with a lesson. The title of this lesson is Jake is hard-headed. And this is a lesson the Most High gave to me a while back, but I'm relating it to camp last, this past Saturday. Jake walked up while the elder was in the middle of a statement, explaining something. He just walked up like, "Oh, I gotta ask a question," rather than holding his peace and keeping his foot when he enters into the house of the Lord, and then waiting till he see a time and or opportunity to say something, and then ask his question. He just kind of just butted in. But according to Sirach, a fool and a babbler, will regard no time. Roughly paraphrasing, but for the simple fact of he came up like, and the brother Kanak of this camp, he alluded to like the dude was already kind of like running his face, talking or whatever, trying to get the brother Kanak's attention, but so I kept looking forward and stayed focused on teaching. But nonetheless, Jake is hard headed, and that Jake that came up, he was very hard headed, i.e. very stubborn. He didn't want to unlearn or be taught or edified so that he can get a clearer understanding. And his body language and how he was speaking, how he was acting off rip, he really came up not willing to listen. He came up trying to teach, the teachers, and that's Jake's problem. He'll walk up to the men of the Lord trying to teach the men of the Lord, but the men of the Lord are the teachers. The Lord came, and it says in the scripture that he came to minister, not to be ministered unto. And that's the same thing when it comes down to the men of the Lord, the prophets that the Heavenly Father has set up. We came to minister, not to be ministered unto, meaning we came to minister to the house of Israel. We came to tell our people, but as you know, Jake is hard-headed. Jake is stubborn. He don't want to listen, and this whole, but anyway, the guy, his whole demeanor, his whole energy was, he already had it in his mind that he wasn't finna listen to what was being said. He had a question. The elder walked with him, tried to teach him, try to edify him and build him up and show him the right path. But nonetheless, like this picture, he was being stubborn, So when it really came down to it, he couldn't really he couldn't really keep that stubbornness for too much longer, because it got to a point to where the scriptures got too deep for him, you know what I'm saying? And later on, he was saying he know this and he know that, just like Jake liked to say, "Oh, I know this, I know that, I know this," you know what I'm saying? But yet they fail to realize that they're not doing what they're supposed to do according to Yahweh Hashim Yahweh Shai. Jake was hard-headed, but me reading him and looking at him through the power and spirit of Yahweh Hashim Yahweh Shai, he didn't come to listen. He came to talk and try to prove a point. And every time Jake walk up to the brothers or any brother in the camp that's edifying, this brother's known for edifying and teaching the word as it's supposed to be taught. When Jake walk up trying to teach the true men, guess what happens? They end up getting made look like fools, man. The men of the Lord, through the power and spirit of Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai, through the scriptures, make Jake look like a fool every time. And it's always bad, and it's always really bad when Jake walk up and he think he got something to prove because he got his woman and his kids there. That just makes him look all the more the worse, because the precepts and the scriptures, that are brought out proves that Jake don't know what he think he know. But continuing without further ado, this is Sirach chapter 3. I'm gonna start at verse 26. It says, "A stubborn heart shall fare evil at the last, and he that loveth danger shall perish therein. A stubborn heart shall fare evil at the last. You know, when you stubborn and you hard headed and you don't want to listen, later on down the road, you're gonna get greased up because you're pig headed, you're hard hearted, you know, and I'm gonna get this word stubborn, you know, so I'm gonna use the adjective. It says tenaciously unwilling or marked by tenacious unwillingness to yield. And that's how Jake, you know what I'm saying, go about his business. He you know, when it comes out of these scriptures, he's unwilling to yield. He's unwilling to be taught and to learn because he thinks he know it all. Jake is the only one on the planet that know everything is still stupid. You know everything but still don't know what he's supposed to know. You know. But it says again, a stubborn heart shall fare evil at the last, you know, down the road. And he that loveth danger is going to perish therein. And 2/3 of our people, they love danger. What is the danger that they love? Being hard-headed towards Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, not following the laws, the statutes, the commandments of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, not doing what the Lord say to do according to the way he says to do it. That's danger. And 2/3 of our people, they're going to perish in the end. They're going to get judged because they don't want to listen. They don't want to hear. Continue. Verse 27, an obstinate heart. Let's get that word. Let's click on that again. It says, an obstinate heart shall be laden with sorrows, and the wicked man shall heap sin upon sin. See, an obstinate heart. This is the word obstinate. Again, it's the same definition as stubborn. It says tenaciously unwilling or marked by tenacious unwillingness to yield. Stubbornly persistent in wrongdoing. Resistance to guidance and or discipline. And that's how that cat walked up, you know. He walked up like that. He walked up with that energy. He walked up ready not to hear. He came up trying to prove what we didn't know and what he did know. And the Lord made him look stupid, as usual. Because you must keep your foot when you enter in the house of the Lord. Every time you see a brother or brothers out on the highways and the byways, the sincere brothers, that is the house of the Lord. That's the church. And you must keep your foot when you enter into that house. Meaning you must be quiet. You must be more ready to hear than to speak. That's why the Lord gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth. So we can hear twice as much as we speak. But when we try to edify Jake and we try to build him up and guide him, guess what happens? He gets that obstinate heart. It's obstinate, you know what I'm saying? That resistance to guidance or discipline. And it says, the obstinate heart shall be laden with sorrows, meaning weighed down, burdened with sorrows. And the wicked man shall heap sin upon sin. Our people are just going to continually to do wickedly, continually to be hard-headed or stubborn, pig-headed, bull-headed, whichever word you want to use. But continuing. Verse 28. It says, in the punishment of the proud there is no remedy, for the plant of wickedness hath taken root in him. See, in the punishment of the proud there is no remedy. When somebody is all prideful and lifted up, there is no remedy. There is nothing that can heal them except a fall flat to the face, you know, a proverbial fall, you know, or judgment. Why? Because for the plant of wickedness hath taken root in him. You know what I'm saying? The plant of wickedness done took root, meaning they are fully set in their ways of being disobedient and being hard-headed and not listening. Verse 29. The heart of the prudent will understand a parable, and an attentive ear is the desire of a wise man. See, the heart of the prudent is going to understand a parable, a dark saying, these limitations and woes, you know, metaphors and the similes, you know. But, and it says, and an attentive ear is the desire of a wise man. See, a wise man is going to have an attentive ear. A wise man is going to be more ready to listen and learn than to talk and try to prove what somebody else don't know and what they, and what the person does know. You know what I'm saying? As I said before, a fool and a babbler will regard no time, according to Sirach. They just gonna talk. You know, and when you tell them something, they're gonna be like, all right, yeah, okay. Yeah, because they think, because, you know, they know and you don't. You know, Jake always trying to walk up, trying to teach us, but he's not doing what the Lord say to do. You see the men of the Lord, and you want to try to teach them. They're not out there to be taught. The men of the Lord are not out on the highways and the byways to be taught. They're out there to teach. They're out there to edify, to guide. But you look at this picture, this is how Jake react. This is Sirach chapter 5. I'm going to start at verse 2. It says, follow not thine own mind and thy strength to walk in the ways of that heart. And that's what Jake does. It says here, this is a commandment. It says, don't follow your own mind. Don't, you know what I'm saying, your own strength to walk in the ways of your heart. Don't think, oh, I got it. Oh, I know this. I know that. You know, oh, I got it. Come on. See, Jake prideful. Instead of Jake saying, okay, I understand, or I know bits and pieces of this information and this information, and going to the people that, okay, well, you know this, well then, you know, going to the men of the Lord that can fill in the blanks. They don't want to do that. They got this here mentality on this picture because they know it. But when they come to find out, you know, they can't break down those scriptures. They don't know the understandings of the breakdowns, but yet they know everything. Man, Jake hard headed. As a matter of fact, Jake hard headed, and this word in these scriptures, the men of the Lord, we're like that hammer that break the rock. As a matter of fact, let's grab that real quick. I'm gonna skip past it. There we go. Yep, real quick. This is Jeremiah 23 and 29. This is, is not my word like as a fire, saith the Lord Yahweh. This is a question. And like a hammer that breaketh the rock in pieces. And that's what's going, and that's how the Most High's word is. His word is like a fire. It is as sharp as a two-edged sword. It cuts down to the marrow, to the bones, discerning the thoughts and the intents of the heart of man. But the Most High's word is like as a fire and like a hammer that breaketh the rock. And as you know, Jake is hard-headed. So how do you break rocks? Hammers break rocks. You know. And when Jake run up, trying to run up on the men of the Lord, trying to flex the knowledge that he really don't have, guess what happened? That hammer smash him to pieces, i.e. this truth, the scriptures, the precepts come out and they get smashed. But yet instead, because Jake's so stubborn, he can't learn, won't learn. You know. And like that dude was saying, you're like, I might not get it, he ain't gonna get it. If he ain't got it by now, he ain't gonna get it. It is what it is. But continue. Back to my point. Let's go to Exodus 32. I'm gonna start at verse 1. Just another example of what Jake being hard-headed. This is Exodus chapter 32, verse 1. It says, and when the people saw that Moses delayed to come down out of the mount, the people gathered themselves together unto Aaron, and said unto him, up, make us gods which shall go before us. For as this Moses, the man that brought us up out of the land of Egypt, we wot not what is become of him. So when the people saw that the Moses went up on the mountain, you know, according to the people, Moses was taking too long to come down. So they went to Aaron, and they said, make us a God that we can worship, the Israelites, that we can worship, you know, for the man of Moses that brought us out of the land of Egypt. We don't know what has become of him. We don't know what happened. He done been up there for a while, and we don't know what's going on. So can you just, they came to Aaron like, can you just make us a God so that we can worship it? And Aaron, he enabled it by obliging. So our verse 2, it says, and Aaron said unto them, break off the golden earrings which are in the ears of your wives, of your sons, and of your daughters, and bring them unto me. See, Aaron was like, okay, well, collect all the gold. Verse 3, and all the people break off the golden earrings which were in their ears, and brought them unto Aaron. And he received them at their hand, and fashioned it with a graving tool, after he had made it a molten calf. Then they said, these be thy gods, O Israel, which brought thee up out of the land of Egypt. So there you go. They went to Aaron, and Aaron said, give me all your gold. And Aaron, he built the molten calf and carved it with a carving tool. And then right after that, right after, they like, and this is after they done seen the miraculous works of the Lord. He parted the sea for them. Pillar of fire, a cloud by day, a pillar of fire by night. Meaning the Lord guided them through the dark and shaded them in the sun, in the heat. He brought manna down so that they could eat. And everything. He did all these miraculous works, but yet they still turned, being hard-headed, and built a graven image to worship that, and then said unto Israel, this is the God that got us out of there. When everything happened, there was not a nail molten calf and or idol that delivered them. This is how you know Jake hard-headed. Verse 5, and when Aaron saw it, he built an altar before it, and made proclamation, and said, tomorrow is a feast to the Lord. So you see, when Aaron he built it, and he looked at it, and then he built the altar before it, so they can worship it and sacrifice unto it, And he said tomorrow is a feast, meaning like, yeah, boom, just Jake being hard headed. He seen all this. They seen the Lord do these miraculous works for them, and they turn around and worship a golden calf that has no life or no power in it at all, and they say that delivered them out of Egypt, out of the land of Egypt, when it was the Lord delivered them out of the land of Egypt using Moses. There was no golden calves or anything to do that. But if you look at the picture, that's how Jake get down, stubborn and hard-headed. Verse 6, and they rose up early in the morning and offered burnt offerings and brought peace offerings. And the people sat down to eat and to drink and rose up to play. See, so early in the morning they got up to sacrifice and to offer peace offerings unto an idol. This is what the children of Israel did, unto an idol, a golden idol that they made, that was made with man hands. They offered peace offerings and sacrificed unto it. And then they sat down to drink and to eat and to be merry. And they just seen what the Lord did. Verse 7. And the Lord said unto Moses, go, get thee down, for thy people which thou broughtest out of the land of Egypt have corrupted themselves. So while Moses was up there getting instruction from the Lord said, hold on, wait a minute. Hey, Moses, get down from here and go down to the people. Why? Because they done corrupted themselves. The ones you brought out of Egypt, they done corrupted themselves. And how did they corrupt themselves? They corrupted themselves in idolatry. They corrupted themselves in disobedience. The Lord said, you shall have no other God before me. That's a commandment. That's not one of those optional things where you can choose and not to choose. You will have, because the Lord is a jealous God. He will not share his glory with another. But Jake hard-headed. Verse 8, verse 8, it says, they have turned aside quickly, see? They turned aside quickly. It wasn't too long out of Egypt. And they turned aside what? As soon as they came to a stop, what did they do? They started doing the same exact things that they was doing in Egypt, being hard-headed and disobedient to the Lord, to Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai, period. They have turned aside quickly out of the way which I commanded them, and have made them a molten calf, and have worshipped it, and have sacrificed thereunto, and said, These be thy gods, O Israel, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt. Verse 9. And the Lord Yahweh said unto Moses, I have seen this people, and behold, it is a stiff-necked people. Now let's get that word. Let's get that word as well. Yep, there we go, right there on point. Stiff-necked. It says stubborn, obstinate. You know, go down to the definitions. Haughtily stubborn, meaning they was pridefully stubborn towards Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai. The Lord did all these miraculous wonders for them, and then they turn around and worship a molten calf, a golden calf. You know, being hard-headed. I mean, the Lord said they turned quickly out of the way which I commanded them. I mean, they wouldn't need. It's just like a repeat offender. They get locked up, and then right when they get out, they ain't even not 6 months good, and they the 2-3 hours, and they right back in jail again. Same thing with our people. Why? Because Jake hard-headed. Jake is hard-headed. Like they say, hard-hearted, hard-headed. Baruch chapter 2. Salakia. This is Baruch chapter 2. It says, if ye will not hear my voice, surely this very great multitude shall be turned into a small number among the nations, where I will scatter them. And that's what the Lord did to the nation of Israel. He scattered us around the four corners of this earth, because he's saying, if you will not hear my voice, and Israel did not hear his voice, so he scattered us. Verse 30, point. For I knew that they would not hear me. See, the Lord says, I knew you wasn't going to listen. I knew you was going to be hard-headed and disobedient. You know what I'm saying? So again, it says, for I knew that they would not hear me, because it is a stiff-necked people. But in the land of their captivities, they shall remember themselves. So the Most High said, I know you wasn't going to listen, because you're stiff-necked people. What? You're hard-headed. You don't learn. You're a habitual line stepper. You go too far every time. But the Lord says, in our captivities, we shall remember who we are. Are we not remembering that we're Israelites in the places of our captivity? All over the four corners of the earth? It's happening. Whether you agree with it or not, it don't matter. The Lord don't really care if you agree or not. It's a prophecy that's taking place, and that's going to continue. We're going to remember who we are in our captivity, and we have. You have the 144,000 men and the 1/3 men, women, and children that believe that know that the Israelites have woken up to that. But 2/3 are what? Hard-headed. They stubborn-hearted. Last point. Isaiah chapter 30. I'm going to start at verse 99. It says, so like I'm going to start at verse 8, then go down. This is Isaiah chapter 30, verse 8. It says, now go, write it before them in a table, and note it in a book, that it may be for the time to come, forever and ever. This was talking about the scriptures and prophecies, and the foretelling of certain events and milestones in the ages, through the ages. Verse 9, that this is a rebellious people. See, it's written in the scriptures that what? These Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans are rebellious. They're hard-headed. They don't listen. That this is a rebellious people, lying children, children that would not hear the law of the Lord. Our people ain't trying to hear what we telling them. They don't want to hear the law. This is when we start telling them the law, this is what they want right here. Verse 10, would say to the seers, see not. Seers mean prophets, pastors, teachers, according to the Lord's own heart. Again, would say to the seers, see not. And to the prophets, prophesy not unto us right things, speak unto us smooth things. Prophesy deceits. That's what Jake like. Jake like you to lie. Jake don't want you to tell it. Jake don't want you to speak of future prophecies. He don't want you to say before. He like the prophet liars. That's why they slide all up in these buildings. Because why? Those are smooth things and lies and deceits coming through the airways out of there. We'll continue, man. Verse 11. Get ye out of the way, turn aside out of the path, cause the Holy One of Israel to cease from before us. And that's how Jake get out. Jake don't want to see the men of the Lord out there on the highways and the byways, preaching the truth. Jake don't want to see that. Like, nah, they don't when they going through the park and they folly, they don't want to hear the men of the Lord rebuking that crap that they doing, telling them that they hard headed and they need to turn back. They don't want to hear that. They don't want to see it. You know what I'm saying? They want to say, cause the Holy One of Israel to cease from us. We don't want to know. Jake hard headed. Jake is the only person, I would say Jake is the only one on the planet that want to be willingly ignorant and get mad at you when you point out the fact that they're willingly ignorant. They try to say what we say is hate speech, but it's not. Somebody that love you gonna tell you the truth. Next point, verse 12. Wherefore thus saith the Lord, Salakia, thus saith the Holy One of Israel, because ye despise his word, this word, Salakia, and trust in oppression and perverseness and stay thereupon, therefore this iniquity shall be to you as a breach ready to fall, swelling out in a high wall, whose breaking cometh suddenly and at an instant. So again, because our people saying, because the Lord saying, because they despise the word and trust in oppression. Jake trusts in this place, oppression, and perverseness, and stay thereupon, being stubborn and not leaving this mess alone, because this place will destroy you with the sword of destruction. It says, therefore, this iniquity, this willingness to do wrong, shall be to you as a breach ready to fall, swelling out in a high wall, meaning it's going to be like a wall that's continually cracking and cracking. Eventually that wall is going to come down. You know what I'm saying? And it says, whose breaking cometh suddenly at an instant, meaning it's like a wall ready to crack, and it's cracking, and then Jake like, oh, well, ain't nothing going to happen. If they know that wall crack and it come down, it breaking to pieces. Well, that means judgment. It's saying swelling up. Swelling out in a high wall, whose breaking cometh suddenly and at an instant. That means destruction. And that's how this iniquity is to Jake. For 2/3 of our people, it's just like a breach in a wall, a high wall, meaning, if it's a wall and it started cracking up, and let's say the crack start at the top, guess what's gonna fall down first before the bottom? The top of that's gonna fall. And anything, and if it's a tall wall and it's made out of some heavy stone, anything under that stone is crushed, i.e., destroyed or judged. But we try to edify people, but they don't want to hear it. They would rather be stubborn, So with that, Shalom.